Hello guys, it's ZyKlone, and today I'm going to teach you a very easy procedure for setting up your helicopter. When you first get a look at a helicopter head, which is all helicopters basically, it can be pretty daunting with all these linkages and everything. You think it'll take forever and it's complex and everything and complicated to set up this head for a proper flight. But actually, it's really simple. And let me emphasize from the beginning that you don't necessarily need a pitch gauge or anything. A straight ruler that measures your preference of measurement, whether centimeters, inches, whatever, as long as you can get a correct measurement, you could actually set up this head and everything with just a ruler, very, very simply. And all you have to really understand is, right now, you see, everything is perfectly straight. These two screws line up. That head up there lines up, the two screws, and that's exactly, the swash plate is level, everything lines up. You're basically using screws as points of reference. As long as all the screws are even at a level all the way across, you're fine. You're fine, you're fine. As you turn the head, you can see right there I need to make an adjustment, but that's because you see how that's up? And that's, well, in reference to the screws. Let me tilt the blades out, because I had it. You can see here, it could be the fly bar, but you'll have to level the fly bar to begin with, you know. Level that. But everything should be, the fly bar, everything should be perfect. These screws should all line up evenly across the screws. Evenly across the screws. One shouldn't be up when you're at zero pitch, at the lowest level on your stick. Your servo arm should be dead straight out. The rod should be dead straight up. And everything should be perfectly even. This way, perfectly even. The screws need to line up perfectly. And when you have that, you'll have a perfect slice across the shaft with no degree of angle off in any direction. And it'll spin smoothly on the shaft, and when you give it pitch, lift straight up. If you have any kind of imbalance here, that's when it'll wobble around the swash plate. So, let me begin by telling you the quickest way to start the setup is take out these screws right there from the servo horn. Take that out of all of your servos. Then, when you turn on your radio, all the servos will center themselves. Put the horns back on exactly straight out like this, so that the rod is exactly straight up. Put the servo arm dead center, exactly straight up. Put the screw back in. Once that's centered and everything's straight up, the next key is this linkage here. This is a 450 helicopter. Needs to be 1 3/4 of an inch precisely. When you've achieved that, and you've got all the servos centered, from this point on, you've got this one perfect. And 1 3/4 inch, you need to go ahead and level everything. The swash plate, the next servo arm, with this one, level it. Right now you can see it's off. You could even look at it and see that one's off, but the servo arm is straight. So obviously what I'd have to do is pop this linkage off, screw it in a bit, then pop it back on. But level that servo, and you're using the helicopter's points of reference. As you lay this ruler up there, you want that thing to be level, straight across. And then the next step, after you've got all these things leveled straight across, the swash plate level so that it looks like this. Let me move that servo so that it's perfectly level. Once that swash plate is perfectly level, you'll go up the shaft here, and you'll see how that's unlevel. You can see how it cants up right there, that screw. So what you'll have to do then logically is pop it off the joint here and screw down so that's level. And once you have these arms right here perfectly level and the screws here meeting up perfectly level, and everything's perfectly level, then you move up here, level that, but make sure at all times that when you're checking your levels, that this fly bar is dead level. So don't have it off to the side, don't have it because it changes the pitch. So anyway, have that perfectly level. Every time you check your adjustments and check it, whether everything lines up, have that fly bar perfectly level. But next you'll want to level these, and then you'll want to, level the other side, blah, blah, blah. And once you have everything level, then you can check the pitch. And the way you do the pitch, don't be worried if this is loose. It's supposed to be. Every helicopter is supposed to have some kind of back and forth on the blade so that it can go like this. And in big helicopters, mass bump can shear the shaft, but this is meant to go like this with any thing. But now you see that everything's level. The fly bars are level. Everything is perfect. You'll go ahead and do the pitch. And the quickest way to do it by eyesight, without a pitch gauge. You get a general read and you'll have to know a little bit about pitches. Make sure that the helicopter is dead level, so weight the front, make sure the battery's in it, whatever, but make sure it's sitting and not sitting back on the tail or anything when you're doing these adjustments the whole time. Make sure it's level. But the quickest way to do this is you look at that blade, and what you do, you come up here, you bend one blade back, a perfect 90, like a perfect 90. Then you blend the other blade a perfect 90 in the other direction so that it appears so. And then you'll line that fly bar dead even with the helicopter. And once you do that, you come off to the side, you'll level the fly bar. And once the fly bar is leveled, you could look off to the side here, pretty much at the dead straight on here, and see where the blades, well, let me turn it so you can see that other blade. See how the blades cut into, it's so dark, I guess that I can't really get a good view like I want to show you what I'm trying to show you here. Okay, if you look dead on, you'll see that the blades cut across that level fly bar at different places. You see, this one cuts back there, and this one cuts right there across the fin. You'll see that that cuts across at different places. What you'll have to do is make them meet at the exact same measurement where it cuts across this fly bar going down. Measure that point to the shaft there, measure that, and precisely make this blade cut down at that same point so that it is a perfect triangle. The two things measure up perfectly, two triangles that this forms. That's the quickest way. But if you have a pitch gauge, you'd simply just pop the pitch gauge on, of course, turn it on, and you have to calibrate these things, so make sure you have it calibrated correctly. But you'd slide this on the pitch, you'd level that fly bar, make sure that the blade is straight out, straight across and everything. The fly bar is dead level, blah, blah, blah. And what you do with this is you look at a level line like in the distance or whatever, and you just level that fly bar with that line perfectly. Then you come over here and you get a pitch reading, and in my case it is 1.2 at this 1.2 degrees at this point. The other blade would be what? This looks like it's negative, actually. So there we go. We'll level the fly bar. It's level. It is negative 5.4. So what I'd have to do is bring this one up or that one down. Of course, I'd want to bring this one up because negative 5.3 is quite a bit of negative pitch. The ideal is at this place where everything is at the zero, the servos are at the zero, dead at the line, every one of them should be like this. Everything's zeroed, everything's leveled, perfectly leveled. At this point, these blades ideally should be zero pitch, meaning if we're looking at this camera as a point of reference, this should cut across it perfectly at zero pitch. This would be positive pitch. to say 10 degrees there. Back to 0, negative pitch, 10 degrees there. The way you'd want to set up your helicopter is that idle mode, which is the first switch, normal mode. This 0 pitch should be when your left stick is in the down position, all the way fully down. It should be 0. But in idle up mode, this should be zeroed at half pitch. Because when you push the stick all the way up, you'd have full, whatever maximum range, 100% of positive pitch at the top. At center stick, you'd have 0 pitch. And then at bottom stick, you'd have negative pitch, 10 degrees. Because 3D, you'd have to pitch it positive and negative when you flip the craft upside down. So, you'd have it optimally set, this 450 helicopter here, we'd have the pitch set from 0 degrees to 11 degrees. And if you wanted to really get crafty, you could even push 12 degrees with these, as long as you have a powerful enough motor and good batteries and stuff. But anyways, that is the setup video. And again, just bend this bar back. If you don't want to use a pitch gauge or whatever, just do it by eyesight, by measurements, whatever. And basically use the triangle so that they're perfect on both sides. Make sure that the fly bar is level. I can't emphasize that enough. Make sure that the measurements, like that point where it crossed the fly bar and that point, are equal. As we can see, it's not. So guys, that will wrap it up, and hopefully you see that you can simply set up your helicopter with no problem whatsoever. And now this Hiller helicopter head does not seem so daunting anymore for you guys. Well, anyways, see you guys later. It's ZyKlone with ZyKlone Drone Solutions. Have a good evening, good morning, or good night, whichever applies to you.